Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. What's the deal with bananas? I mean, really. They tell me they've got orange juice, they've got apple juice, and even cranberry juice. But where's my banana juice? So, are we going to talk about why you're covered in smoothie, Jude?
Talk? Oh, are we going to talk about it? This smoothie that I'm wearing is the icing on the cake that is my terrible day. I've done nothing but drive, Jerry, all day. I'm a busy guy and I drive. I'm a busy guy that drives. So it would make sense that at some point in my day, I would be driving under an overpass. What would not make sense is that as I drive under said overpass, someone would throw a smoothie off of it and into my car, Jerry. All over it, Jerry. Think about the leather seats.
Whoa. That's nothing, Jerry. Listen to this. This afternoon, I was on my way to the doctor to see about my marsupial pouch. And who do I see on the road? The guy in the chair. Of course, he's not in the chair when he's walking towards me on the sidewalk, and he's doing that thing with his hands, you know, where he waves them around flamboyantly as he walks like this. Now, of course, I don't see him. He'll want to strike up conversation, maybe even get coffee, but I'm on a tight schedule, Jerry. These marsupial doctors are hard to pin down. Even harder to get an appointment with. So, I dive into the brush right next to the sidewalk. What's waiting for me in the brush, though? A raccoon. A hungry raccoon. It clawed me, Jerry. It bit me. It scratched me. It flayed me. I don't know why, Jerry, but it wouldn't want to leave me alone. It clung on to me as so long that I have to shove it in my pouch. I had nothing left to do, so I thought Byron could just take care of it because, of course, he's in the pouch. Now I'm left scarred, plagued by rodent scratches and rashes. I probably have rabies, Jerry.
I assume you've had a great day, haven't you, Jerry?
Well, I haven't. I was making some prime rib for lunch and spilled the whole thing on the floor. Meat grease went everywhere. The only thing I had to wipe it up was your jacket, Levi. Sorry, I forgot to tell you, but I used your jacket to wipe up meat grease. Now, I couldn't eat the prime rib, so I just went down to Five Guys, got a burger and shake, but on my way home, I realized it wasn't a shake at all. It was a banana smoothie. And you guys know how I feel about banana beverages, so I tossed it. Honestly, what has the world come to?
Jerry!
All right, roll the intro.
Evening, officer. Is something wrong?
Don't worry, son. Routine traffic stop. We got reports of someone driving under the influence. You know anything about that?
Oh, wouldn't it be me? I'm only under one influence.
And what would that be?
The influence of Jesus.
It's time for Under the Influence.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children.
What? So that text wasn't on.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Under the Influence. I'm one of your three hosts, Jude Crane, joined, of course, by Levi Thiessen, a.k.a. Kramer, and Jerry Crane, a.k.a. Jerry Seinfeld. Welcome back to another episode.
That's me. Sorry. That's me.
What's the day off with banana juice?
You know, I do actually really hate bananas.
Really?
I don't love them.
I like bananas. Our church has great bananas.
Okay.
Speaking of church,
Every week that church has bananas, for whatever reason, they taste so good.
they're so good.
Yeah.
I think they're a little
Usually,
under
like, it has to be, like,
good.
right on a certain level of ripeness
cherries.
Of what?
for,
Ripeness?
for me to, like, enjoy them.
Yeah.
And for some
it is-
reason, they always get them at the church right on the money.
ripeness.
You know those like really simple computer games where it's like a little bar going back and forth, and there's like a little sweet
Yeah.
spot that you have to hit the space bar right on? It's like something like that. This is talking about perfect flavor for a banana, of course. It's like something like that, but it's not a barrier of two lines with a sweet spot. It's just a single line. You can't see anything in the middle. And you have, it's like, I think perfect banana ripeness is down to the minute.
Probably.
I don't get the analogy. I'm still trying to figure out what.
There's no analogy.
Okay.
No,
I mean,
like
it was, but-
like whenever you eat it, you're always like, oh, it was like right before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm
Or
saying
like
is Levi
it was
was
right after.
saying something that I wholeheartedly agree with, which is that there's a specific moment of ripeness. Well,
Oh, yeah.
you could say that about pretty much anything. Like there's a specific moment where it's enjoyed best, but that could, for some things, encompass like 3 days or a day long period or whatever, or maybe an hour. But I'm saying bananas. It's so minute because you can be so
'Cause
fooled by being like, that looks close enough. But it is like one of those little games where like something's going back and forth really quickly and you have to hit the space bar and stop it. Or like one of those things where it's like, win the jackpot if this light bar lands
Where
right
you
in the
gotta
middle.
like sync up
Oh,
the
like
tower.
building the arcade tower game.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Like one of those things. But it's if, you know,
You've
if you
just-
have a wider range of landing it, it's
'Cause-
easier.
yeah.
It's like if the range is so minute that you can't even see it.
Because
You
like
just press space.
it's-
I was being hyperbolic.
Yes.
But now that I've explained it,
You're being
bollock.
bollock.
I'm being minibolic.
He's being metabolic.
No, well, no.
Wait, you
Well,
you
no.
don't have a metabolism?
Cracks my back.
Well, no. Yeah.
No, but you gotta like time the, because it's not just about like quote unquote ripeness. It's like there's the degree of flavor as like as like fruits go from pre-ripe to ripe to like past their prime,
Yeah.
and the mush.
The mush.
Yes.
The,
there's some fruits
the
that are
texture
good with the
for
mush.
bananas.
Yeah.
They're down with
is
the mush.
really important.
These
for me.
bananas are firm.
But not too firm. Because if they're
no,
too
no.
firm, they're chalky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we need to delve too far into the science of this anymore because it's probably.
Right before we leave the bananas, I want to touch on one thing about the bananas.
That
So
real
kinda has to do
bananas
with
are
bananas.
dead.
Because what I've always preferred in a banana,
Just, yeah, we're really diving into this. Like it's a deep philosophical. What I've always preferred. Oh, you. Yeah.
I had an analogy. Or I just never mind. I thought something funny, but it was
Stupid.
stupid.
Yeah.
What what I like about my bananas is I think I like bananas right before they're traditionally like ripe.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
all three of us do.
Yeah.
What determines ripeness then?
Color, texture.
Because, but like, why
So-
color? What color is a banana supposed to be?
Well,
because
a
a
banana's
banana
supposed to
that
be
I
yellow.
like to eat has a little bit of green.
But they,
in it.
yeah.
Yeah, so like traditional ripeness for a banana is like no green, all yellow,
Perhaps
no brown yet.
slight green on the stem. I think is still considered probably ripe amongst.
Yeah, but like that's like
Amongst
that's
banana
like
scholars.
Amongst
textbook
many
ripeness.
scholars, yes, amongst many textbook scholars.
Like most people that I
Call
know,
them ballers.
they all like having a little bit of green
Banana
on,
scholars?
on the banana.
Yeah, I like the banana makes. I sound so stupid.
Yeah,
but
well,
like
there's some edges to it
a
that
triangle
are-
or like a hexagon shape.
Yeah,
yeah.
Right at the edges, there's like just
Yeah,
lines of
all
green,
of the-
faint green.
It's actually penting.
Is it pen? I'm trying to think.
No, it
There's
would
only
be
3
pentagon.
peels though.
Well,
Well,
yes,
no,
but
because it's
but
there's
no. 'Cause
most
there's
of
a
the time
flat
I've got
front
like
side,
5.
slightly concave. Then there's the 2 convex,
Yeah, it's like
and
a
then
triangle.
there's 2 more convex because there's usually another. Look at a banana sometime.
Oh, I've never actually looked. I just eat them. Look at a banana sometimes.
No, because
you're a real baller.
because like when you're
a banana
I'm a
scholar.
banana scholar, and I don't really like them that much.
When
it's
you-
because I know exactly how I like them.
yeah, but like
You have enough of them you don't like.
you
start
don't
to
have the problem where you like peel it and then you accidentally like get only one of the
little-
side ones instead of getting 2 of them in one, so you can have 3.
So
and then you end up with
never had that issue.
2 regular like sized peels, and then the other 2 are like really small.
But anytime I encounter that, it's just because the actual banana has formed so that this side is really thin and this side is really thick. I've never gotten more than one peel.
Yeah, perhaps.
You've never just made a mistake.
Well, of course, I've never made a mistake.
Well, I would postulate
I would postulate
as a banana scholar.
a baller MD.
Well, I would postulate as a banana scholar.
As a banana juice.
We should juice some.
Gross.
Juice some?
Juice some.
Oh, juice. We should juice some bananas.
Honestly, we used to remember back in the day how often Gaga would juice fruits and
Yes.
vegetables.
Oh yeah.
I think he threw a couple bananas in. Yeah, he did because it would like make the juice like real creamy.
What?
Did he? I don't remember. I remember him doing star fruit one time.
Yeah, we would throw like random fruits, but it would be like carrots.
What's the
celery,
Pomegranate.
cantaloupe.
Pomelo?
Juicing pomelos. Usually, we would just eat pomelo.
That's
while
right,
we
he
juice
bought
it.
pomelo.
Pomelo is my favorite fruit.
Oh, it's a great fruit.
No, we would throw guava, all that kind of stuff in there, and then sometimes
Big
a guava.
grapefruit.
You don't know what a guava is?
You said
No,
pomelo.
Oh, pomelo
It's like a big
is
grapefruit.
okay. Let me explain.
All right.
A pomelo.
You're also a pomelo scholar.
I'm a Jake Pauler. A pomelo is like a grapefruit, really big.
Yeah. Are they sweeter?
But yes, that's the point. They're not as juicy as a grapefruit because like you open up a grapefruit, it starts kind of like juicing. But like a pomelo has these like really coarse,
That's right.
like this like coarse, thick webbing. You know, the stuff that like holds all the wedges together, and then it's got a really soft and thick like skin or whatever.
But it doesn't have the bitterness of a
No, so that's the beauty of
grapefruit.
it. It's the texture, the same type of it's like a citrus fruit like that, but it holds together better, and you can eat it in like chunks or pods of these bigger pieces, and it has that type of
30%
flavor.
of the tartness of a.
Yeah, but it's way less tart, and I've always found it to be like the sweet tarts, not sweet tarts. The Sour Patch Kids almost, but less sour than that. But it's that kind of flavor. Like there's a bit of a sourness to it, but it's just this really good flavor. I love
distinctly
pomelos.
sweet.
They're so good. And when you like peel them, they're like thick and soft, so they're super satisfying to like tear this.
The rind is.
I'm weird
very
about it, man,
valuable.
but I
We've
love
talked-
those fruits.
We've talked about food a lot on this, like weird foods. I feel like
I think that it's because we're always hungry.
Yeah, I'm
right
hungry.
before
that's true.
we
I'm
record.
so hungry.
I'm so hungry,
We should get some pomelos.
dude. I want a pomelo.
I think,
and they're big, like they're like 2.5 grapefruits.
I think they use
loves
pomelos in
zucchini.
Napoleon Dynamite.
They're like the size of one of those mini watermelons.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mini
I think that's what he throws in Uncle Rico's van. They may say grapefruit,
might be,
but
but
I
I
think
think
they
it's
use
a grapefruit.
pomelo.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, wouldn't that be interesting if it was a pomelo? Yeah, it's huge.
it's big.
What do you
That's
throw?
why-
He's like, ugh.
Get back here, Napoleon.
I watched an interesting movie today involving throwing something at something.
Fingers.
Yeah,
that's right.
Fingers at an Irish door.
Fingers.
Fingers at an Irish door.
That's my short novel that I've been working on. Fingers in an Irish door.
It was an interesting movie.
Your fat fingers killed my donkey.
Yeah, it was sad.
I've noticed a lot of those coming out, the dramedies. They're
Yeah.
like dramatic but comedic in a weird kind juxtaposed way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Good movie though.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes.
Let's break this down.
Mm.
Is he funny?
Yes. Define funny.
I'm talking about his stand-up.
Define funny.
Define funny?
Define
Yeah.
funny. What is funny? Objective, subjective.
Oh, crud. You're right. Everybody's funny. You're right.
Are you asking our
I'm-
personal preference?
No, I think you're right. It's all subjectivity. So Amy Schumer is just as funny as Jerry Seinfeld.
kill.
I'd wager
Kill?
I'd not even specifying, just kill.
Just kill.
Kill mode activate. Levi cracks that KGB tooth in your mouth. The cyanide pours in.
Just
Kill.
cyanide pours and kill.
Punches me in the side of the face, and it cracks it for me.
I mean, like, because
Spit
if
it
comedy,
like a hissing gecko thing. Yeah,
cyanide all over us. My eyes.
Yeah.
If
You guys
comedy
don't
like
like,
success,
but I'll die.
is just judged by monetary gain, then like, yeah, he's super funny because he's a well-known,
true.
and super, wealthy comedian. And I think he's funny. I think he was probably more funny when he was doing stand-up as a young man.
Oh yeah, you mean then now?
I mean, it's just aged.
Yeah, and he doesn't make jokes anymore.
Now he drives cars and drinks
But
coffee.
like when
with Obama.
That is pretty funny.
yeah.
That's like I think that might be I watched 2 episodes of that show. It was that one and Fred Armisen.
You watch Norms?
Isn't Fred Armisen the guy from like...
Fred Armisen?
Isn't he the Portland guy?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Fred Armisen.
Yeah.
Portlandia?
Yeah.
He was also in that Wednesday show.
He was also in Olin Rogers' Final Space.
He's in a lot of things that you'll just randomly, like he'll be a side character.
No, Fred Armisen is somebody else. No,
that's Fred Armisen.
it is. I'm thinking of... I can't remember the name.
He's in one of the few, I think, funny SNL sketches that has Andy Sandberg.
Andy Sandberg.
And the guest on it. So the skit is Fred Armisen, Andy Sandberg, and High School Musical kid.
Zac Efron?
Zac Efron.
Oh, no.
Andy Sandberg and Zac Efron play it's like a faux commercial. These 2 kids, and it's a Pizza Pockets commercial. And Zac Efron's line is like, dang, where'd you learn to cook like that? And then Fred Armisen is playing the mom.
Oh, I've
and he
seen
goes,
this.
Don't talk. His line is, don't talk to me like that. I'm your mother. But the bit is that Fred Armisen is like enraged, screaming at Zac Efron. I think it's very funny.
Fred Armisen is funny. No, he plays the robot in Final Space.
I didn't know that.
Kevin or something. The one that he's always like...
Data.
All right, so you can say that he's funny, but you can't just give a yes or a no on Seinfeld.
I did.
Are you talking
The
to
first
me?
thing
I'm
I said was
literally
yes.
the one that asked the question. So
Yeah, Jerry.
Do I think so? Yeah, I think he's funny. I think I'm the only one before Jude that did answer it.
The robot?
Excuse you.
Data.
No, that's Star Trek. In Final
Data?
Space, the little round robot with
yeah.
arms that flies around.
That's Fred Armisen?
Yeah, if you watch it.
I've never watched
I didn't know that was the
Oh,
voice.
Yeah, he's so annoying.
Hi, Olin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Gary.
That show was pretty funny,
Gary.
though. Yeah.
I'm almost done. I was almost done with it, but then
I'm so done with it.
I lost access to my streaming service.
Oof.
What streaming service was it on? It was on there be streaming services. That kind of streaming service, huh?
No, I think it was HBO Max or something.
Doubloons Plus.
Doubloons Plus.
Bottom of the 7 seas. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another one that I can't.
Nice job, yeah. Captain Blackbeard's streaming service.
I was trying to think of like a pun.
I can't
Disney Plus,
remember.
Doubloons Plus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hurler.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime.
That might be the only good one. That wasn't
Until
why.
Till I
There's
say
nothing good on. There's nothing good on HBO.
dude, I love the Edovard like.
Did you see yours?
Yeah.
I don't know who. So
I'm
Jude made
the,
an HBO Max account.
the sidekick on Psych.
Oh,
That's right, yeah.
So Jude made an HBO Max or paid for HBO Max and gave us access to it. And when I got on, we already had profiles. So Jude's was based off of his D&D character. If you listen to we have another podcast called Of Lore and Legend. It's a D&D actual play podcast. It's super fun. You should check it out. But that one, Jude plays a character who's like wrapped up in bandages. And so Jude's profile icon on HBO Max is the Invisible Man wrapped up in bandages. And then
Very funny.
And then Levi's is the character from Psych, the sidekick from Psych. And mine is, what's his name?
I don't know, but he plays Coach.
No, it's like,
Carter in,
it's got one, he has one of those funny names. Is that okay to say?
Bozo? Like
No.
the clown?
You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll find it.
No, I
Plays
don't.
He plays the principal in Spider-Man?
No,
the new
he plays the
Spider-Man movie?
teacher in Spider-Man.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
He doesn't play the principal?
Wait, what?
There's no principal in that school that.
I thought he was the principal.
Mm-mm.
But I thought the guy from Freaks and Geeks played the teacher.
He is the other teacher, but
There's 2 teachers?
Wait, I
certainly
thought the.
Well, who's Hannibal Buress?
He's
the
the
gym
PE
coach.
He's the gym
coach.
I thought he was the principal.
I don't remember any of the teachers from that
Yeah,
show.
his name is.
All I just know is
I guess I
Hannibal.
shouldn't say it's funny, but he has. Well, his name is JB Smoove with a V. Smoove. Smoove, like smooth.
That's got to be an industry name, right?
I'm sure it is, but his name is JB Smoove.
No offense to anyone that has the last name.
Apparently,
Smooth.
Michael J. Fox
He was
is
born-
an industry name.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
a
not his
lot of
actual
them-
name.
Natalie Portman.
Usually you can see. Usually you can
What's
see
her
like,
real name?
It's her last name is like something
Yeah, totally different.
way different.
A lot of them. There's a ton of people that took like just normal sounding names because their names were like Polish or something, and,
Yeah.
and then director or their agents like, you should change it. Like
Yeah.
even like Matt Mercer and
Wait, really? Matt Mercer?
yeah, his last name is something different. I can never remember what it is, but it's
Mercurian.
no, it's something that like there's
Dude,
a
that'd be
few
so-
other famous Matthew this.
Lillard.
Oh, Broderick. No, just kidding.
No, but there's like with Michael J. Fox. I think that it was Michael, but
Christopher Miller. Matthew Miller. There's I guess another famous Matthew Miller. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah.
But he picked something similar, so it still had that kind of an alliteration and Miller, Mercer. Yeah.
No, but I just saw this thing that it was like all these people, like somebody else already changed their name to being a more generic name. And then when they get onto the scene, they have that other actor's name. So they just like either throw random letters or like change a last name or a first name, just throwing names around until like you get to like the fifth guy that has a very similar name. And
It's just a mess.
it's just a mess that has nothing to do with his original name.
So Natalie Portman apparently was born in Jerusalem. Didn't know
Really?
that. Her last name is Hirschlag.
That's right. I remember it being very non-Western,
Very non-Western.
which is fine.
Hirschlag.
Hirschlag.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, but then you got people like Zach Galifianakis.
That's not his real name either.
Oh, it's wait.
Wait, what's
I'm
his
pretty sure his real name is Zach Smith.
That was a good Zach Galifianakis laugh. That's a really good.
I'm trying. It hurts.
Yeah, my name was Zach Smith,
Yeah.
but he went with Galifianakis.
He was like, I need to stand out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Think about how many Zachs there are in media.
I can't.
Efron.
There you go. There's one.
Zach
Zachary Levi.
from
Zachary Levi. Zach from Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
the fictional
Yep.
character. Yes.
Well, no, his real name is Dylan.
Yeah. Or wait,
I was
is he
about
Dylan
to
or
fully
Cole?
say, no, he's Dylan. Zach was Dylan. Cole was Cody, I'm pretty sure.
Who is Mosby?
Nobody knows his name.
Tiffany, I think.
He's the dad of
Wait,
the guy from
was his
Psych.
name
He does
actually
have
Tiffany?
like a feminine name, I think.
In the show, was his name actually Tiffany?
No, it was Leslie, I think.
Leslie.
Yeah,
No.
that sounds.
It's something like that. One of those. Let's find out. This is so dumb.
You're so dumb.
Phil Lewis is the actor's name that played Mosby.
He went to jail.
Marion
Marion
Mosby.
County.
Yeah,
Marion Mosby.
Marion County.
He went to jail before Zach and Cody. Like, I think for a significant amount of time. And then he joined like an actors guild that
Gang,
like promotes people who are out of jail trying to find work in the.
And then they
In
put him
Hollywood.
with children, huh?
Well, I think it was like tax fraud or something. He went to jail for. It's not like he killed a kid or
I know,
something.
but it seems dangerous to put an ex-con with.
I'm really trying to turn my life around. I really appreciate the role. What did you go to jail for?
Kidnapping.
Thanks,
Killed
Dan.
a set of twins that lived in a hotel. Oh no! Oh, you know the movie The Shining?
really,
It's based
really,
on
thanks
me.
for this
You
job,
could-
Dan.
That could be a really good inspiration for this character we have.
Oh my goodness!
He hates two twins who live in a. Oh, really?
really?
You don't say.
I love the scene where he's teaching what's her face how to drive.
Yeah.
The Brindle. Do you want to listen to Am or Fum?
Yeah. Dude, that dates us a little bit.
I mean,
No, I mean like in this middle ground where some of the people listening have no idea what we're talking about because they're too old.
Because they were like,
And
born,
then-
like,
And then others who are born like just around when you were and after probably have no idea what we're talking about. But you, I mean Jude.
kind of after around my birth, like an afterbirth type of thing.
I'm not sure how I feel about that one. Jude,
Yes,
I was thinking maybe
that's dangerous.
I wouldn't. Yes.
Wait, did you have one?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
And you forgot it.
Well, we were supposed to record Tuesday, but we didn't, and I didn't write it down.
no.
Oh, no.
I mean, I remember something, like an observation I made that was funny. There was this time where our grandpa, who was on the podcast...
You know how we feel about observational comedy.
Ooh, I saw someone drinking banana juice.
You threw a
In
milkshake
Bend,
at me.
on the same day, I saw two different people doing the toe maneuver that we had to do.
up with that?
That's the grandpa. Not toe as in foot, toe
Okay.
as in vehicle. Where there was just a car.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You never told that story. It might get him in
rough.
legal trouble.
There is not a single
Statute
person.
of limitations.
Yeah. Oh, by one day we beat the statute of limitations on illegally towing a car that wasn't ours and that we sold. But just kidding. That part's a joke. In Bend, I saw two different people. These might have been stolen cars, just judging by the looks of both the cars. But you had a car that was driving that was towing another vehicle only by merit of just being tied to it by cable.
Uh-huh.
And so, like,
Dude.
you'd see the person in the rear car that has no engine or anything on. It's just in neutral. And they are just gripping the steering wheel, like, looking all around.
Have we told you the story, Levi?
I don't know. I don't.
All right, abandon your on route thing. So, hang on, we gotta play it out.
Oh.
We might come back to it. So, one time, my grandfather.
One time.
Wait, was this you guys were doing it?
This is real.
Oh yes, I know this story.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about
Well,
somebody
sorry,
else.
listener. Never mind.
Sorry, listener, you don't get to hear the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this podcast is for us.
All right, Jude. What was your other thing?
No, we should tell the gag story. It's a funny...
Okay. So one time,
One time.
couldn't have just played along, Levi.
Well, I'm sorry. I
this is
wanted
better.
to be truthful.
No, this is better. So one time,
All right,
what does that
I'll
mean?
leave the
Well,
room in my wheelchair.
I'm telling Levi to wheel out of here.
Oh, okay.
No.
Down the stairs? The podcast studio we recorded is not wheelchair accessible. Unfortunately.
Levi like on the ground.
Seinfeld always ends with a freeze frame. So it's fun to think
So
about
it's
Levi.
just like
halfway down the stairs, like,
going
"Ooh!"
over in the wheelchair.
yeah.
My grandpa has historically collected many things. That's the nice way of saying it.
Yep.
And he had a lot of cars that were not in operation. They could be, but they would require a lot of work, or sometimes a little bit of work, but whatever. They required some work to be in operation. You okay?
Yeah.
Do you need to sneeze?
No.
If you can, it's fine. We'll let you do it.
If you can, it's fine.
If you can. If
No,
you
go
can't
ahead.
see.
Force one. So
Sorry.
that sounded like a gun,
Oh my goodness.
didn't it?
Yes, and
It sounded like a more realistic gun.
And the movement that he
Yeah.
did under the table also looked like he was.
I
just
legit thought you had
pulling.
like a fake gun.
Hey, well, for
You're
the
like-
audio listener, this is not a bit. It's a can of sriracha flavored peas.
Yeah.
So, not a
Crunchy
gun.
sriracha covered peas that you're going to eat while we're recording. This is a gun. So, just kidding. It's sriracha covered corn. Zach, who let Zach Galifianakis in here? Get out of here, you weirdo! You furry guy.
Furry guy.
Well, he's hairy.
Anyway, the toe story.
So,
All right. Tell me about those grippers.
grippers. We needed to move this car for him because it had been sitting on the curb, I believe, for too long, and like the city had contacted him, so he was moving it from in front of his house to in front of a friend's house, and
Doing the old switcheroo.
yeah, and in order to do this, we needed to tow it because it was non-operational. Now, here's where things get interesting. He was in a minivan in front of us, and in order to tow this vehicle, didn't want to pay for towing it, of course. I mean, I didn't either. He picked Jude and I up and was like, hey, you guys are going to, he's like, hey, Sonny boys, you guys got to help me with something today. We're going to move a car. And I was like, okay, great. That can't be that hard. We get there. He informs us that it's non-operational and goes, all right, in order to tow it, I got these ratchet straps. He had, I think, 3 ratchet straps. And we had to put 2 of them together to make them long enough so that like it would reach between the cars functionally.
Yeah.
And I don't know what. Oh, I do remember what. We put one of the ratchet straps in the van around I believe, around those loops that you used to put like a back seat in. Oh, you know those like bars that like you click a back seat into. I believe we put one of the ratchet straps through that and then hooked it to the front bumper of the blue car we were pulling.
Yeah.
And then we put another ratchet strap
On the actual.
on like some part of the body of the blue car, and then like the toe spot.
Yeah.
No, there's not a toe spot on a blue minivan.
We attached
just something
the
else?
second one we attached to the same thing on the two different vehicles, and I
Yeah.
forget what it's called, but it's the bar that turn
The axle?
I think so, yeah.
No, there's no way we put it on
no-
the axle.
of the blue car. Why can't you put it on the axle of the blue car?
No,
Like,
that's not
there's-
what we did.
Let's not pretend like either.
There's parts of the frame that you can.
I think we put it on the muffler, you know, the windshield wiper fluid
the
dispenser,
windshield
or maybe
wiper.
No, I think it was the headlight fluid cord.
Oh
fluid
no,
cord.
you guys tied it to the side mirrors.
Well, Jerry was in the back car, so we tied
here's
it
the
around his
important
neck.
part. Oh my god.
Driving.
Yeah, just so much weight. So here's what's important.
You're just
It
keeping your back and neck
doesn't
straight.
have. We just put it in neutral, couldn't start it, and originally it was going to be Jude in the back because he's lighter was the original reason, and Jude was just going to steer while my grandpa in the minivan pulled the car, and then it ended up being me because I was like, well, somebody's going to risk their life. This is clearly dangerous. I'll do it. What? And so I'm
You were
sitting.
jumping at the chance.
No, I was not.
No, he was not.
I was just more jumping at the chance to not have you do it. Now, here's where things get interesting. We were convinced there were some back roads we could take so that it would be less dangerous. Now, we started to take those back roads. For anybody familiar with Salem, there's a road called Corden and a road called Lancaster. Corden and Lancaster are parallel to one another. One is a 55 mile per hour road. The other one is a 35 mile per hour road. But both are busy, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Lancaster is like town.
It's
like
it's
a
in the
strip
middle
of
of town.
Yeah, it's a strip
Five
of town.
lanes.
Storefronts on either side, and it connects to the rest
Kind of
like
what you
to
would call
downtown.
the hot place to be.
Well, I would say that, but yeah, like and constant stops,
Yeah.
35 miles per hour, a bunch of other cars, tight traffic. Whereas Corden, 55 miles per hour, so we're clearly not doing that. But like, you know, it's a stop every mile or two, whatever. Well, we were like, we'll go between those two, between neighborhood roads, because it's clearly going to connect. Well, the problem is it doesn't. You can go about halfway between where we were trying to go and where we were coming from. And then eventually you get to a point where like they don't connect. And it's dumb because they're like so close to connecting that they should connect.
You
They
can
just-
walk it.
You can because there's a field.
No.
But you... Oh, I'm sorry. It's because it was like blocked off. There's like this awkward...
gravel. It's about like only like 60 feet of gravel.
It's like 2 blocks, I think, or maybe...
We could see the other road. You could walk to
you
it.
could
There's
see
just it's unpaved, and there's these big signs in front, like the
Yeah, do not go this way.
do not
signs.
cross giant things. You can't move. But they weren't there.
So we go down this road and we're like seeing that it's not going to let us.
Man,
we
if it
still
wasn't
tried.
for traffic laws.
We still try, and then we realized we definitely can't make this, and so we had to first. Okay, I'm in the back, he's pulling it. Every turn, I'm like no power steering, just trying to like turn the whole weight of this car with just my hands. At the steering
Jerry's
wheel.
7 in this story.
No,
so-
no, I was like 19. And
like
also,
9.
imagine riding in a wheeled wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Being pulled. You know that scene from Fast and Furious where they're pulling a
Where they're
safe
pulling the
behind
safe?
cars? Yeah, that was me in it. But I have a modicum of steering ability, and I have to slam my foot on the brake to get it to stop.
And you have like
When we
4
realized-
feet to stop.
Yeah, because it's like if he
it's like 4
stops
feet.
quicker than I'm expecting, he doesn't project his stop with a few quick flashes of the brake. I'm just gonna go into the back of a minivan, now going very slowly, but still. And also, halfway through, one of the toe lines snapped. So then we were just going based off of one
And where were we going?
to our house.
Lancaster.
So we realized we couldn't go the way we wanted to go, which was safest, less traffic, neighborhoods, and it's also, by the way, pitch black outside, totally
Yes,
dark.
it's the
after
dark of night.
sunset. So we had to first somehow turn around. I don't remember how we turned around because we got to a dead end. And then we turned around awkwardly, finally made it. Then we're driving now on Lancaster because we're not going to take Corden because Corden is busy. We're on Lancaster going next to all these storefronts and constant stoplights. And dude, people are like looking at us like, what are you doing? Like, It was just so dangerous, and we made it, and my dad was furious. I mean, rightfully so. I was a little mad, but it was like, well, we have to do it. So
I had the time of my life.
yeah, you were in the front, just like, and I think we had walkie-talkies. No, we were on our phone.
phones.
We had our phone going back and forth, and like,
What is this? The
he'd be like,
1970s?
he'd be like, all right, Sonny boy, I'm about to stop here. Now let's stop. Now I don't tell this story because I am mad at my grandfather, or I think he deserves ridicule or anything like that. It's a good memory. I had like looking back, and I was like, we were fine, and it was fun to do something, reckless, I guess. I don't know, like to make a fun memory, I guess, with our grandfather. But do not ever do anything like that. It could have been so bad, especially since like there was nothing about that situation that was done, well, I should say correctly. Like, we didn't hook up the two vehicles correctly. We went on a road that we shouldn't have gone on.
I mean,
because we didn't have a choice.
You could have gone down like Cordon and like drove like the tractors drive, like on the side, caution lights on.
There's no side on most
There's
of
no
Gordon.
lights in the rear vehicle.
No, like the bike lane, like how
There's a lot of Cordon that doesn't have that. It's just a cutoff.
I mean, it's got like maybe a foot.
Well, yeah, like 1 to 2 feet,
Yeah.
but it
I
would have
mean,
been enough to
no
the
lights
back
on the rear car, which is what they're going to hit.
The back car was
Oh,
swaying
you
a lot
couldn't
too.
even turn on anything.
No,
there
the
are?
back
No.
car,
Oh, okay.
dude. So much of the inside was gutted. The only seat in that car was the seat I was sitting in, and it was the skeleton of a seat, no cushions. Yeah, I felt like I was in like a race car that's like been gutted so
Rally
it goes
car.
faster. Yeah, it was crazy, but also the back of it was swaying so much that would have been, I think, too dangerous because there's a lot of Cordon that like goes off the side, even where there is a bike lane.
Oh, yeah.
And if he had like taken a left turn and I kind of went out like a wrecking ball or something, just
And then you would have pulled the back
pulled
of the minivan.
pulled the
into a
minivan
ditch.
backwards into a ditch. No, we're fine, and we were fine. It was just one of those situations where it's like we shouldn't have done this. But we're over half an hour into this. We should probably
You need to be
switch
able to
topics a little bit. But
take chances and be able to get hurt, or else you won't be able to learn.
it's about a walled garden.
You don't build a wall to take away freedom. You build a wall so people can have more.
Oh, what was that long? I'm going back to Canada.
I'm never going back to Canada.
For some reason, he still does though.
Well, I
He
born
should
and
just move
raised.
to the U.S.
Honestly. Not that we're talking
Honestly.
about anyone in particular.
We are.
Kermit the Frog.
You've got to be able to have walls. You gotta have walls.
Should I do the cadence of Jordan, the voice of Kermit?
Boys. There's something I've been
Boys
meaning to play
to men.
for us.
Boys to Men.
For us, I don't know if this is really going to go necessarily anywhere, but I would like to play it. There has been a recurring segment. We're abandoning the en route, right? Good, because there's been a recurring, I shouldn't say segment, but like discussion that a lot of the podcast has been about throughout our first 2 seasons. And it was this thing, we talked about how Matt has talked about it with us. And it is the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'm going to die.
Abednego.
I said it right, but then I choked up at the end of it.
Abednego.
Yes. Abednego. Indigo. That
Inigo Montoya.
Inigo Montoya. Demonstration of faith, right?
Yeah.
And have you guys heard this song already?
What song?
Okay, good.
Well, how do we...
Well, I thought I talked about it. There is a song that I had not heard before, and I don't remember where I heard it. Oh, I was listening to like a radio station on Spotify of a bunch of Christian music to just try and find some more. And the thing about Christian music, which I think is what we talked about on like our second episode ever, or third, I think it's number 2, is that the general consensus of us here is that a lot of Christian music is kind of bland.
Yes.
That's an unfortunate issue due to a lot of factors. One of those being that like a lot of it now is just kind of the idea of pop music, and they're just kind of like putting a Christian spin on it. But it's also not really like they're making good music. They're just like saying like affirming or like encouraging ideas over and over and over again. And it doesn't feel like they're coming up with like good music. Sometimes maybe some of the lyrics are okay, but the actual like musical part of it is just like bum 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 bum, like this kind of like whatever. Yeah.
It's
and they're just saying things like God loves us. Yeah, God loves us.
Yeah, I think the
God
distinction I
loves
tried to
you,
make
yeah,
was
God loves you.
like it used to make a statement that could possibly be challenging, or it would say something. And nowadays, a lot of at least very popular Christian music will describe something.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
you can walk away from a Christian song and just feel good, which is not bad. But I think a lot of the older music that would, instead of just describe something, it would say something. You'd walk away probably feeling good, but also thinking about something.
Right.
And then that can lead to, it planted more seeds, I think.
I will say, I think chief amongst, were you about to say something? Sorry.
I was yawning.
Okay. Chief amongst those people that were saying something, there's a lot of them, but one of them that, as soon as you were describing that, immediately comes to mind is Casting Crowns.
Oui.
So much of their music is kind of like story driven in a way, but also so much of it is like, here is this compelling message through music. And that's does not mean to say that they are the only one doing it, but I think it was that era that was doing it really well. Now it's just, it has the same effect, and the reason it's being compared to pop music here is it has the same effect of even pop music. I think pop music from a secular point of view kind of does that too, where like good music nowadays has a purpose. A lot of pop music is just like beats and a word repeated a million times or a few phrases, and it's kind of purposeless. Now, I think it's more important that Christian music have a purpose, but it does seem like the general way that music has changed over the years has affected Christian music as well, which is unfortunate. Now, a lot of the popular bands who were doing things well in the past, I think, have fallen victim to this same thing. All of that to say, I don't like Mercy Me very much because I think Mercy Me has done the same thing. I just don't love their music. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I think if you like Mercy Me, you should like Mercy Me. I think some of their music is great, but a lot of times I'm like, a lot of their music sounds the same. It has that kind of poppy, it's catchy. I used to really like it when I was younger, but I kind of stopped liking it. I heard this song by Mercy Me for the first time recently, and I really, really liked it. And it just falls right in line with that. He can, he will, but even still message. It's called Even If. And I just wanted to play it for you guys and we can listen to it and then maybe talk about it. Is that okay? Well.
Roll the outro.
End the show there. We don't have to listen to the whole thing.
Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. And right now I'm losing bad.
So already you can see he has like a clear purpose. He's kind of telling a story.
Stood on this stage night after night, reminding the broken it'll be alright. But right now, I just can't. It's easy to sing when there's nothing to bring me down. What will I say when I'm held to the flame like I am right now? I know you're able and I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I mean, it is those words.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly out of the story. And it's not to say that like Matt or the person Matt heard that description of faith from, who obviously read it in the Bible and then told it this way, and he told it to us, and we've gone back and read it ourselves, of course, and more fully understood it. It's not like any of those people were like, I unlocked a secret that nobody's got. Yeah. So it wasn't like, whoa, what are the odds that Mercy Me, they had the same interpretation?
Hyper obscure passage in the Bible. No,
yeah, but it is just cool because
it kind of feels like when a movie does like the name drop, and it's just like,
and I actually don't know when this song was written. Sorry, go ahead.
Because it's like something that's been like really relevant.
Relevant.
I don't know what you're going for.
Relevant or prevalent?
I mixed those two words up, and then it just became a
relevant
bad word.
Oh
no, just like a bad word, not like a curse word.
Okay, I was like,
it was
did you just say relevant?
A word that was just such.
Which one did you mean?
I mean, I kind of meant both.
Yeah.
Like, it's been really prevalent and it's been very relevant in our lives recently.
Prevalent.
And it's very cool to hear a song that does the... it says the thing.
The mantra.
The mantra that we've been kind of
Not
like
too deeply
talking to each other about and talking about in a lot of different areas of our lives.
Yeah. And it obviously connects it to, so right here where it says, my hope is in you alone, it connects it to faith, right? That these 3 statements are a demonstration of faith being expressed right here. Only takes a little faith to move a mountain. And yeah, good thing, because a little faith is all I have. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, should we only have a little faith? Of course not. We should have the utmost faith, right? In God. But I think that does speak to something that is certainly okay to talk about and shouldn't be shied away from, which is sometimes it's really hard. And we do only have a little faith because we're failing to have enough.
Yeah, I think the line is one of those areas in music and all art where if you trying to analytically, which I'm not saying anyone is, but if you really, really analytically look at it and you go, oh, the theology, grammatically you should say this, but what is being communicated there is not grammar or anything. It's the idea, which is even when you are wounded and hurt and you just have this little bit of faith in your life.
Yeah,
that's still enough to move mountains, which is so much bigger than anything we're gonna.
Well, and it's not our faith as in it's our faith has power or we have power. It's even the smallest amount of faith in Him. Yeah, He has the power to move mountains, I should say.
Yes.
And sometimes our faith is little, but that doesn't change His power, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the message that should be focused. I'm not saying that you're not, but
how dare you, Jude? Get out
just
right
another
now.
time Jude screwed it up.
no, I now I'm kind of speaking to
No, I
the
understand.
statement. It takes a little faith to move a mountain, which is one, in some ways, to be persnickety about the grammar, is one that I don't like. But just because if people hear that and they don't understand what's really being meant, and sometimes because of the way it's said, they mean it the other way. It's not our faith that moves mountains, but at least I mean, it is.
it's not. Yeah, like you're saying, it's not our faith that moves mountains, but also like it's because we have faith and that God we've allowed Him to work through. It's the idea that if you possess any amount of faith, however large or infinitely small, it shows to some extent you're allowing God into your life. Mm-hmm. And if you allow God into your life, He can do anything.
Yeah.
So the door, no matter how big, God can get through. Now, preferably, we should work on ourselves and try to have greater faith if we're hurt or struggling. But as long as you've allowed that door, then God can work through your life. Because He's given us that choice, right? We could choose not to have a door. Well, there's a very commonly held belief that He's given us a choice, right?
If you subscribe to it. Just kidding.
Sorry, I forgot this was a predestination podcast.
Yeah,
Dude,
what are you trying
Me and
to
my
say?
Calvinist brothers
Predestination, free will.
will never be discussed on this podcast.
Well, I think it is being right now.
How dare you lie?
Levi, kill.
You were predestined to lie in that statement. Levi, kill.
It's such a difficult discussion.
Discussion. Yeah. I think if any,
Well, I think it's hard for me. It's difficult to wholeheartedly land on one.
it's so funny that you would say that, and the feeling I would get in response just by like how our personalities usually clash. Mm-hmm. I totally agree. If one of any of the discussing parties is like struggling with the idea of free will versus predestination, it is a difficult discussion, I think.
But you don't struggle?
Personally,
Yeah.
no,
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I don't-
interesting. Really?
because I have enough. I've been taught enough, and I possess, I think, enough understanding that either one. It could go either way, and frankly,
I agree with that.
It's one of the maybe the only thing that's not a salvation issue that I just go.
I don't. So I
It's not a
guess
salvation issue.
by saying the word struggle, I wasn't thinking of it in any other way other than what you just said. Like the struggle is that I don't have
Yes.
a concrete answer.
That's fair. I kind of just said it's
It made
a
it seem
struggle
like-
if you struggle with it, which was a non sequitur.
I certainly don't struggle with it. Like I'm worrying over it, or I'm dwelling on like, well, I'm not saved if I don't figure this out or whatever. Which I do think some people take it to that extent.
Perseverance of the Saints type of.
No, I mean, but yes, but I just mean like I have heard people say if you don't have a stance on it, then how can you be certain of your faith?
That's an interesting.
Well, I mean, I don't agree, but I almost understand. It's certainly an extreme position to have.
Yeah.
To say that if you don't have an opinion or that you believe to be true on that, obviously, like we learned in school, and I don't think you have to learn it in school to know this, but it is an unessential Christian doctrine.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be, or else.
I think we believe that, and I think there's definitely people like there are for every single doctrine that would claim it to be essential, but I think it is an unessential doctrine.
Yeah.
It has to be, because if it's not, then...
I mean, functionally, it shouldn't change anything.
No, it should change nothing as far as our salvation.
Or like the actions that we
Exactly.
take.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what you were touching on before.
It doesn't control how we should react to situations or continue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have direction, biblical direction telling us how to act.
I think it's important if anyone listening is like questioning that, one, your salvation is not contingent on your certainty of it. Asterisk. Only because I've heard people say the same thing, that, you know, if you believe in free will, how can you be certain that you're saved? It's kind of a non-question, because the only other option is predestination. And if predestination is true, how can you be certain of your salvation? Only because people who believe in predestination, you see examples all over the world of people who looked like and proclaimed to be Christians, and then they leave the faith, and then they die. Well, what happened?
Yeah.
And some people will say, well, then they were never saved in the first place. Well, then how do you know you're saved if you're right now?
Because maybe
Christian?
later.
Yeah. It's not the type of question that's resolved by targeting the opposing view. It's a type of question that's resolved by studying Scripture and, I think, growing closer to God.
Yeah. I just mean, when I was saying earlier that, like, I guess I do struggle with it, it was just that for years I was like, there was like high school where I was like, I have to figure this out, because it was like such a hot button issue and we were all arguing about it all the time.
Yeah.
And also because it was brought up in school quite a few times, and then we would argue with Dad about it. And then I think that you and I were like vehemently opposed to Dad's position. And then as I've grown older, I've swayed to the point, well, then I stopped caring. I was like, well, I'm not going to figure it out. I don't need to figure it out. I don't care anymore. And then, well, not that I don't care. It was it's one of those things that's like, which I've talked about before.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, well, I don't believe that we can fully, wholeheartedly say one or the other. At least that was my position.
Yeah. I think
it was like, so there is some beautiful mystery to the way that God works that we cannot understand. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't try, but we certainly shouldn't let it become a stumbling block to our faith. And that's what it becomes. Things like that become a stumbling block because they become more important than the gospel. These ideas of like how the church is divided on theology and coming to the root of who's right, which that's really what it becomes. It's like on a human level, who is right based on your interpretation of Scripture. And that is not what Christianity is about. It's trying to figure out who is right. You know, like we've referenced this before. I just read it and I can't believe I don't remember the reference to it. But are you the church of Apollos or Cephas, or right?
Are you the church of Apollos or the church of Paul or the church of Jesus?
Yeah.
Like, we all have the same Savior.
We are the church.
But we are not the church of a human interpretation.
And I'm glad that I only baptized these people because I don't want people to be going, oh, I was baptized by Paul, so I'm better than you, who were only baptized by Apollos.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just reading today in James 3:15 or 16, where he's talking about that exact thing. Just that, like, jealousy and pride and all these things that are wrapped up in comparing yourself to one another, like judging your goodness, the meter of your goodness and value, up against other Christians, and that defining your righteousness. And that's why I read that other verses, because it was the Bible study like packet thing I was going through was taking me there as well. But just this idea of your interpretation of theology or the way you believe specifically on some of these unessential things, and then stacking your righteousness up against the righteousness of other believers and trying to decide who is more righteous, leads to destruction and the destruction of the church, unfortunately. And it leads to disarray and disorder, I think is the word that it uses in James 3, but which is so sad. I mean, talk about how much the church has been its biggest, what?
Just making sure I'm not muted.
Oh, your mic is still on. I would have told you if it wasn't. In a lot of ways, the church itself has been its biggest detractor, right? Which is not a statement that has a ton of, it is necessarily so profound because people have said it time and time again, but it is true, and we should remind ourselves of that, because if we don't, then we just kind of allow it to happen. And we need to catch ourselves and fellow members of the church when they're allowing petty disagreements or even just making interpretations, theological interpretations, more important than our relationship with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think he said it best when he said it becomes not about what is right, but who is right. Like you're no longer worried about what the other side is arguing. You're worried about being on the right side, regardless of what that side stands for.
Like Matt said to us one time, we've talked about before, it's like when it becomes about winning the argument rather than winning the soul.
Yeah.
Like that's more of an approach about unbelievers or believers to unbelievers, but it's that same mentality. If your position with an unbeliever when you're discussing something with them that they're clearly wrong about because they're an unbeliever, they don't believe in the truth, if it comes down to being you trying to win the argument rather than winning the soul, then you're going about it the wrong way. And that same mode of thinking applies with fellow believers.
I think it's important to remember that, like, anytime there's quarreling within the church or even between two believers about a matter such as this, some doctrinal belief, the very fact that you're disagreeing either vehemently or not, and that you're quarreling, I won't say fighting, but you're quarreling over this, means that you both believe something is right and you believe the other person ought to believe this. So it's always important to remember, if you're quarreling with someone, the reason that you're quarreling is because you don't want, what's important is not that you're right. What's important is that what you believe, what the scripture says is right, you want this person to believe also. Mm-hmm. So it's not about being right or wrong. The reason you're quarreling with each other is because you believe this person should feel this way, not because you want to win the argument or anything.
Yeah.
Now, of course,
I pulled up. What?
Now, of course, I have an opinion on it.
I pulled up, just so that I'm not just saying like, well, somewhere in the Bible it says this. I pulled up what I was reading today. It's James 3, starts in 13. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast about it or deny the truth. Such, quote, wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. So that idea of envy and selfish ambition, I think 100% applies to this idea of my theological interpretation, or this guy's theological interpretation is what is truth, and you're making it about that. And I think that falls under the category of selfish ambition because you want to be right rather than, sharing the good news and truth of the gospel. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that a weird way of saying it?
No. Gospel means good news. So it's like,
sharing. Sorry. A bit redundant there, but.
No, it's fine. For any of my classmates that are listening.
But then it says there you find disorder and evil practice. Your classmates what?
The gospel means Jude. It's
that's not true.
It's not true.
Let's not allow. So
it's not true.
But
one
to your
time,
classmates it is.
One time, my Bible teacher formatted a test with because he made his own, so it was just not the most aesthetically put together. And the very top, it was just a question line, just lines everywhere. And the very first line that was on the page, top left, I put my name, but there was a letter next to it, and that letter corresponded to the question, what does gospel mean? And I put Jude.
Because you thought that was where you put your name?
Like, whatever, 2018.
Yeah.
Was there no spot for your name on it?
There was, but it was on the right side in just like the same line, but then underneath it had name. So it was just,
That's funny.
And then it was the only question I got wrong on the test. And he wouldn't give me the point back, even though I knew. Anyway,
really?
Yeah.
He is a
That's
gracious,
hilarious.
gracious man.
It's not the man you're thinking.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
It's not.
Yeah.
Bozeman?
No, it's our old Bible teacher, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I can
I
see
hope he's
that.
listening. I don't want to say his
Talking
name.
about Mr. Garvey?
Jerry.
What? We've mentioned him on
No,
the
yeah.
podcast
Oh
before.
my
I know, yeah.
goodness.
It's Mr. Garvey.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And I'm not
I mean,
salty at all. It was a very fun memory, and it's. But yeah, good test, actually.
Jude says he's not salty, but there are
Definitely not
tears, like
I'm not
blood
salty.
red tears welling up in his eyes. I'm not salty right now.
99 out of 100.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, we're not necessarily.
What caused you to sway?
What?
What caused you to sway?
To sway?
Well, you said that you were pretty grounded in the free will idea, and then
I didn't
as
say
you
that,
got
but
old,
thank you for
you were pretty
revealing
grounded in. I was literally just projecting. That was what I've been grounded in. What made you start to?
What made you
sway?
change sides? And
I didn't. I just
I'm
more.
not saying they changed sides. Yeah.
I in high school I was like, well, it has to be this. It has to be this. Which was that it had to be free will, or else it didn't make sense. And I was coming from a position of like, well, it devalues. Well, I don't even remember what my old position used to be. Free will. If not for free will, it devalues God's certainty in our devotion, which I think is like putting like a lot of control on God, kind of from a human perspective. So I at least think my perspective on it then was wrong. I don't like that mode of thinking. But I don't know. It was just like, I think I just came to understanding of like, either way, I should not be so worried about what it is, because I was becoming overly passionate and this and that. And so there are certain days where I'm kind of like, yeah, I think it makes the most sense this way. And then other days where I'm like, yeah, but God knows it all anyway. And God is entirely encompasses existence, and he is so much grander than everything. And who's to say?
Yeah.
Kind of. Which is just like, so I'm more of the position now that I just don't know. I would love to know, but I have a propensity and weakness to have answers sometimes. And without them, it is damaging to myself and those around me, just in the sense that when I'm demanding them. And I think that is irreverent and disrespectful when it is directed towards God. Yeah. The demanding of answers. And so I decided, even if I have a position and I believe one or the other to be my position, it doesn't really matter, because it's not what saves me, and I can't let it become more important to me. So now I just kind of exist in this limbo. No, just kidding. I have thoughts and opinions, but it's a fairly divisive topic, as we've said before, so I don't think it's something we have to go super in depth on.
What I think is important from those kinds of discussions is, even though that they're divisive and you can have like you can get into like big discussions about it because there's a lot of evidence of both sides, because it's never plainly put down. Yeah. But the important thing to do in all of those kinds of conversations, not just with predestination versus free will, but with all of these kinds of non-salvation issues, or even like if there are salvation issues, well, less with that, because that's more important to like have big discussions about. But anyway, the big part in it is to make sure that the non-believer or the new believers can feel comfortable enough to ask either side, like, so that you can be like, so this is the evidence. I believe it's this way, but there are other people that believe it's that way, and not like just be like, oh, how dare you not already have an answer decided? And here is the only way that it could be. And because with those kinds of things, like I heard it like years ago. There's an interview with Oprah Winfrey. And you know about Oprah Winfrey, how she had a big segment on her show that was just like, all right, all of the people of all different faiths, no matter which faith you choose, you're going to make it to heaven, even though Jesus is like...
I've obviously heard that position before, and it's false, but I didn't know that she had
I didn't know that either.
segment.
She had a segment on her show where
Like a
they would be
coexist
like
segment?
like a prayer thing
that
to
wrong to
pray
say?
to the
No. I have a
the
soapbox.
deity of
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
All roads lead to home religion.
And but there was an interview because like that's how like the like it ended up being like this cult that she had created of acceptance.
The Oprah Winfrey cult.
Cult of Post.
And
All right, everybody, drink the Kool-Aid.
but there was an interview, and she grew up in I don't know what denomination it was, but she grew up going to church.
Baptist.
Probably.
That's not a shot in the dark. I'm pretty sure it was Baptist.
It has to.
like
Could have been wrong.
But anyway, the reason that she left her faith and Christianity and going to church and everything to do with God was because her pastor did a sermon about the jealousy that God has for us. That God is jealous of us, like for us to have us instead of the world. And she went in and she was like, "Oh, God's jealous, but don't be jealous is a 10 commandment."
Yeah.
That's kind of dumb. And she left, not asking anyone, because she did say she was too afraid to ask what that meant. Like, and ask for an explanation because she thought that she would just get ridiculed for, how dare you not know that this is talking about this or whatever.
Yeah.
So she was just like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to have an argument about it and like just get yelled at. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This says she was raised Baptist and even named for the biblical character Orpah.
Oh.
What biblical character is that? Am I inept?
I don't know.
I don't know the biblical character, but I was...
Orpah Bible.
Orpah Bible.
Oh, Book of Ruth.
That's not how you spell Ruth.
A woman named in the Book of Ruth. She was from Moab and was the daughter-in-law of Naomi and wife of Killian. I just figured I was saying it wrong.
Yeah, in all...
She reiterated her Christian faith in adulthood, though she leans toward a general spirituality rather than
she was
her
like, no
specific
matter
doctrine.
where you go.
She recently endorsed New Age spiritualism, and some suspect she is starting her own religion.
Wait,
Yeah.
that's really in there? Some suspect that?
Says right here, some suspect. Well, clearly Levi does. He's some.
I guess.
Just kidding.
I guess.
I mean, people must, if Levi brought up, like just anecdotally, and then it says it in this article.
Yeah,
I think that some would suspect that, right?
I think that's a fair point to make because religion can mean a lot of things.
But it was all like about feel good and everything.
New Age spiritualism.
But no, I found that interesting, and it's something that like that kind of thing shouldn't happen.
I think anyone listening should like strive these issues that are so within the faith, like hot topic, and they're always butting up against each other. And it's always got to be one or the other, right? And some of those, like everyone agrees, it will be. We will learn that, or maybe we won't learn, but it is one or the other. They're just arguing about which one it is.
Right.
You should strive to at least understand both sides, because I've seen people in my life who are negatively impacted by poor or wrongful teachings of what the ideology of free will in this context represents and the ideology of predestination means. And so
Like it's already straw-manned in their head, basically.
I can see people doing a disservice by poorly explaining these ideas to people and turning them away. And
from Christianity as a whole.
Yeah. Because it's, I mean, not to just throw out strawman, but it's pretty obvious how people can misconstrue predestination, and then someone could go, well, shoot, I'm not saved, and I'm not gonna.
I'm just a robot.
Yeah, and I don't even believe this. I'm just questioning it. So, I mean, I guess I'm not going to heaven. And then people could throw out free will and just be like, humans have this power to have God or not. And they're both these misconstrued ideas. But I would implore the listener to attempt to understand either side. So regardless of where you fall, if you see someone tripping on this or stumbling on this, you cannot just make a kind of half attempt like Oprah did with this very surface level understanding of something and then just making a broad statement about it. And like the thing about jealousy is it's the most minute, very simple to understand, just nuance of language about the word jealousy. And if she had known that, she would have been able to better explain that to people and I think turn away a lot less and bring in a lot more. And it's sad to say.
Two things. I mean, number one, I think if it was just so quick and like half-hearted as the way you're describing it, right? Where she heard this, didn't care to like actually discuss it, just was like, this is a weird contradiction, and then went, I'm done. I think that might point to, obviously, it might not be that 10-second period.
I'm sure that there were like other factors, and that was like the straw.
If it was just so easy that she was just like, I would dare to say that she was looking for a reason, right? Or maybe not looking for a reason as much as she's already like, I just already don't feel good. Like it's if she's turned to New Age spiritualism, it's a lot about feeling, right? Already is just kind of like on her way out and went,
slammed the door.
This, like, here is, what's the word I'm looking for? The scapegoat, right? Like because it's such a flippant kind of thing. It's just what makes me think that.
No, yeah, but like it's a simple like mistake to have done.
Yeah.
Like,
but it has a simple way of addressing it. Like there's a simple answer to it, right? That's why I'm saying
like the place of blame and responsibility is twofold, because it is a simple mistake to make, but if you're willing to undo it, there's a simple answer to it.
But
it just feels like asking with intent, asking the question with intent to someone who is a teacher.
The whole excuse was that she didn't feel like she could. Like, because she felt that she would just get ridiculed. Right. So like I'm saying trying to not give ammunition over to people for why they're just going to leave because of the failings of a human to have been either at some point like exploding, like just getting angry at minute things, or being shown to only have heated arguments or debates on things, or ridiculing the naive.
Well, not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly. We all stumble in many ways. Yeah. Anyone who is never at fault in what they say is perfect, able to keep their whole body in check.
These people, there's this common understanding that people with a platform,
James 3, 1 and 2,
will stray away from making statements because they don't want ridicule. Yeah. But it's like, first off, if you're on a position of a platform, and you should be on a position of a platform, you need to make statements, and regardless of whether they're right or wrong, you're going to get ridicule. I mean, the most prominent people, everyone in the Bible gets ridicule for what they say. That's what we are saying is not it's not the direction culture is going. You're supposed to make comments, and you're going to get ridicule. It's ridiculous to think that you shouldn't say something because you'll get ridiculed. That should inspire you to research it and understand it so you can be confident in your statement so that you can deal with the ridicule, not disregard the statement because you'll get ridicule.
And I only bring up this scripture just to say, right, obviously when you said the fault is twofold, there's fault with her for, we don't know, but for not like actually seeking the truth. Just maybe if it was just simply that easy to just be like, oh, contradiction, done. And didn't ask questions, right? Then there is fault with her. But you're saying also she felt like she couldn't. Well, then that means if she earnestly felt that way, and that wasn't just like coming up with a lie or a reason for why she said she didn't do the work of asking, then that falls on her teachers, right? If like you were saying, if she's been experienced this idea of asking questions that should be simple with simple answers, you get yelled at or ridiculed for it. Well, those teachers were not very effective teachers, right? Yeah. Because they were not in control of their tongue. They were not in control of their speech. And they either do not realize or do not care that because they are a teacher, which a teacher is a position of influence married to authority, right? All of us are in a position of influence, like we've talked about time and time again on the podcast. But when you become a teacher, it is now married with authority. And so this teacher either does not realize that or does not care, and is not controlling or taming their tongue. And as it says in James 3, where it's talking about taming the tongue, it specifically says that teachers will be judged more strictly because their words carry this weight to people because they have an influence like every single believer in person, every believer does, but it comes with a semblance of authority.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because you can have...
Well, there's
you can
projected
influence.
authority from people, right? People see them in a position of authority, and you have to... And then they need to see that as
No,
a
I totally agree.
responsibility.
Authority should be in there. I wouldn't say married because it's a throuple if you do, because it's responsibility is also there. Because you can have authority and influence and be a pretty crummy teacher.
Yeah. I think authority...
Not you. I pointed at
No,
Levi.
I know.
was referencing. Yeah.
The listener never would...
No.
Well, I think authority breeds responsibility, right? Like...
No.
Not good, not a good attitude, not a good representation of responsibility, but you can have responsibility and not handle it well, but it doesn't mean you don't have the responsibility. You have a responsibility to deliver kettle corn, but if you just don't do a good job, it doesn't mean you didn't have the responsibility to begin with.
I agree with that. I was just saying authority, I don't think necessarily. Literally, authority doesn't necessarily breed responsibility.
No, I think anybody in any position of authority therefore has responsibility. Because if you have authority, you have a responsibility to those you have authority over, or what you have authority over, right? To do it well. It doesn't mean to say that authority is the only thing that produces responsibility, but I can't think of a situation in which authority does not then come with responsibility, right?
I mean, it would be it's a unimportant nuance.
Oh,
well,
certainly.
technically, because of this scenario that is possible,
You are
has happened
correct.
in history.
No, I
it doesn't.
shouldn't.
But you are right.
No, I shouldn't have.
You shouldn't have challenged me.
I wasn't even intending to challenge you. I was
How
just
dare you.
I was just saying yes, I agree. I think those things go hand in hand no matter
How dare you
what.
just break his character?
You're ruining your image of
You were saying it's a problem with the Baptist domination.
what? No,
That's what you said.
certainly not.
That's what you said on the podcast.
No, let it be known that I did not say that.
Okay. Yeah, Jerry looked it up and he was like, Baptist, that explains it. And I was like, that's not nice.
No, certainly not.
We were raised Baptist.
Yeah, we were.
But yeah,
I would say we still most closely are.
Oh, man, I'm so...
Jude's a little Presbyterian.
No, well, even that's the thing. It's one of those things I don't know. I don't know the exacts of the Baptist, the Presbyterian, all the different ones. So I should.
That is something.
well, here's a good way to break it down. Do you like music?
Okay.
Yeah, and I like drums.
Unfortunately, I have to go.
Yeah.
I'm already a little late, but I think that this was a good discussion.
Yeah.
I think that there are probably some more avenues to it that we could have taken, but it's okay. I think I was going to stop it earlier, but then Levi, you were making a good point, and I think it actually helped things round out towards the end here better than they would have been if we had stopped sooner. So there's something I was going to say, and I don't remember now, so it doesn't matter. But there's some scripture I want to get to next time. But I do like that we did put more of an emphasis on actually reading some scripture here. And I think that we need to be better at that moving forward when we're talking about it, which we've said before, but I need to just remember. So remind me sometimes, because sometimes I won't remember, I'm the one with the laptop here. So in the future, be like, oh, hey, look up that scripture, because I will, and it's fun.
But yeah, so it's important to know, to understand both sides, or at least to some extent.
Just
so
be sure that you're not believing in a straw man of the other, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
earnestly.
so that you can give answers to people that have questions about it and be approachable to unbelievers or new believers or
Be
those.
approachable, period.
Yeah. Be approachable.
Because how much more difficult do you think it is for someone who's been a believer for 10 years and has spent the entire time just not asking questions,
Yeah.
and they're not a new believer anymore, but they also feel like they can't approach to ask.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, of course.
I was going to say
agree
weak
with you.
believer as well. But
To what?
But yeah, pretty much everybody be approachable.
Yeah.
And
And good conduct.
And if you don't have the yes or no on this is 100% factual, then you should have answers to why. If
you don't know?
If we don't know whether it's free will or predestination, because you can't prove it until we're dead.
There's a lot of people who disagree with that.
There is a lot of people
who
that
believe they can prove it.
Yeah, but
Right?
Yeah.
What?
anyway, it just it's good to know both sides and be able to explain it to people.
Yeah, I think
to
you should
the best of your ability. And if you can't, then lead them in the right direction.
strive to learn both sides, not so you are right, so that you can know what is right. Because you being right is less important than
Yeah.
knowing what is right, I think.
Yeah. Destroy your ego.
Yeah. I mean, humble yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's
So,
not
Levi,
us what's
free
right.
will
It's us believing in who's right.
I choose option 3.
Ooh, option 3.
I would
E
say the
theory.
same thing.
T theory.
Option 3.
By just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are.
That's a good one.